Is Microsoft shutting down Xbox over these financial reports? Here's what Xbox didn't tell you at Developer Direct. And Xbox's next big show is locked in. Let's discuss. What's up, guys, and welcome to our weekend edition of Xbox Ready, where I get together with this dude right here and make sure that you are up to date on all things Xbox. We get a little bit of Xbox perspective from my side, get a little bit of PlayStation and Steam Deck perspective on Jimmy's side. What's up, man? How you doing?
Ready for Dead Space.
Ready for Dead Space?
Comes out tonight.
Dead Space coming out
Got
tonight.
my DualSense Edge. I'm gonna play it. I'm excited.
On the Edge, bro? Dang, okay. Yeah, Dead Space reviewing very, very well. Some people are saying it's like damn near perfect.
I mean, the first version of it was perfect. So if they just remade it and made it look better, I don't see how you could make it less perfect.
That's all you gotta do. Glad Dead Space is reviewing well. But first off, we gotta talk about some bad news. Again, when it comes to being an Xbox fan, it comes in waves. It's like, oh, there's some like good stuff, and then it's like, oh, they're getting sued. Oh, Activision Blizzard deal doesn't look so good. Oh, and then we find something else. So let's start with the bad news and then talk about the good stuff that I'm excited about for Xbox. The bad news is that Microsoft's gaming division, their revenue is down upwards of 12% compared to this time last year.
Whoa, that's a lot. That's about the same percentage that Burger King just gave Hans Zimmer to create their incredibly annoying jingle about Whoppers.
Is it actually true? Does he actually own 13% of freaking Burger King?
Royce will put some data on the screen when he's editing this video, but man, that's crazy. It makes sense though, because it's like the revenue's down because there's not a lot of games coming out, right? Like Sony gets boosted by games like God of War Ragnarok or Gran Turismo 7, exclusive games. That's what fuels sales of games and improves revenue, but Xbox is like relying entirely on third party.
Yeah, I thought they were doing a pretty admirable job considering that they didn't have any huge releases last year. I mean, yeah, they had really good games like Pentiment, but not like those huge marquee
Pentiment's
ones.
Not like, yeah,
it's not like a system.
You're not buying Pentiment. You're playing it on Game Pass, presumably.
Yeah, according to Game Informer,
I bought it.
He did buy it.
Didn't
on
play
Steam.
it, but I bought it.
According to Game Informer, they say Microsoft released its second quarter financial results for the 2023 fiscal year, and it revealed that Xbox gaming revenue declined 13% overall. Content and services such as first-party software and monetization and third-party games declined 12%, but Microsoft notes that this decline is up against a strong prior year comparable, saying that last year in 2022, they had a really good year, which again was impressive considering they were just coasting on perceived value almost of like, this is what's to come if you buy into the Xbox ecosystem. And apparently, according to this report, Game Pass subscribers are up. So there is it's not all doom and gloom.
So that kind of makes sense, right? Like the game sales individually went down, but subscribers went up because games are on Game Pass. That kind of adds up to me. And then they didn't get any favors done for them with stuff like the Callisto Protocol. Like that could have been a huge seller if they finished the game.
Like if they actually optimized it for all consoles
that would have
and all
boosted game
platforms.
sales because that's not on Game Pass, right? Like there's just nothing there for people to pick up for $60 or $70.
Yeah, but they also said hardware was down too. So I mean, again, you could tie it back to there's no major first party releases, so no one's buying an Xbox.
Any win here, but it's you're right. Hardware's down because there was no games released. Like that's just what happened. It's like there's nothing worse than picking up a console and not having anything to play on it except for old gen games.
Okay, gaming revenue is down. We tied it to the games. Yes, it will help if they release more games, if they do it in a timely fashion. Starfield especially, because that's I would say the first system selling game in a long time. But what about hardware stuff? Do you think releasing an Elite Series 3 this year to compete with the DualSense Edge, would that be enough to get them in the good parts of
Well, you were talking
earnings?
about a family plan. Is that out? Where is that out?
That is out in Colombia and Ireland right now, but it's testing. It's not fully out, but people
Can
are
you make
thinking,
an Irish account?
I could, in theory, use a VPN or something, but it violates Microsoft's terms of service.
Oh.
But it popped up on the PC Xbox app of join friends and family plan or test it out, and there's a little link that leads you to a test version of the friends and family plan.
Okay.
You can't get it, but its existence is people are speculating, it might come out soon.
I think an Elite controller would be cool. Maybe some PC peripherals, or they could make a more like premium headset to match up with the H7 and H9 over at Sony. That'd be pretty cool.
Keep pushing those Series S's, man. If we're looking for like a short-term solution to get hardware sales back up again.
Oh, they should release a disk drive for the Series S. That would be super smart, knowing that Sony is making an external disk drive for PS5 this year.
Yeah, I wonder when we're going to hear more about that. Obviously, they filed a patent sometime early last year, I want to say. I'm sure that sales would go up.
It would also be cool to get an upgraded Series S, I think, knowing that we're getting games like Gotham Knights and Plague Tale Requiem that are even 30 FPS on the Series X and PS5. Like, it would be cool to have like a little bit beefed up Series S to kind of stay competitive.
Yeah, but like, what is the in between of like a beefy Series S and like, why not just buy the Series X?
Like, if you could get like every game that runs at 60 at 1440 or 4K on the Series X, if you could just have it run at 1080p 60 on the Series S, that would be pretty cool.
But the appeal of the Series S is that it's cheap. So like, how do you keep the same price but upgrade the tech? But there is glimmers of hope, obviously, with Developer Direct, and we have some games to look forward to there. We have a new game that was added, shadow dropped out of nowhere, Hi-Fi Rush, which is really, really good. So it's starting to look up for Xbox fans. Speaking of Developer Direct, what are your thoughts on it?
Thought it was great. Forza not having a release date, kind of strange. I don't know, like, what's going wrong with that. You're taking the assets from Horizon 5 and just improving them.
Yeah, it seems like that was a little strange because it's like they said all this stuff about all these different games, but what they didn't say about Forza Motorsport seems to be like a huge variable in their release schedule for these games, because the expectation was it was going to release at least first half of 2023. They were saying spring of 2023,
that was
and now
announced
it's
with
like
the series, like pretty close to the Series X. Like when they did that game showcase, they announced that game. They're like, coming soon. Like they used to be on a cadence of every other year with these Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon, Motorsport Horizon, and a lot of people involved with Horizon just left to form their own studio to make an open world RPG. So some weird stuff going on with Forza, but it's not like Gran Turismo's in a great spot either.
I liked it when they talked about the audio department in this Developer Direct in regards to like what they were doing in order to, you know, make it more lifelike in motorsport. I did enjoy like the developers' perspectives. I wish there was a way that they can do it more candidly, more casually, less presentationally, because you know, a lot of these developers, you know, they work really hard and they're very talented at their craft, but they're not necessarily used to being like on camera and being interviewed and stuff. So I wish there was a more like lax environment for them to just kind of be themselves.
But I think they did a good job. Their video quality is always really good. Their audio quality is really good. One of the guys, I think it was one of the dudes presenting Forza, he was wearing like a button-down t-shirt. Me and Jake were in our Discord saying like, this guy's shirt fits perfectly. Man came out swinging with a perfectly fitting shirt. So yeah, Forza, weird that they don't have a release date. They're saying 2023. I bet it gets delayed out of this year.
You think not of this year at all?
We're in 2023. If you're waffling, if you can't even say December or like November, you're talking 2024.
Because I was thinking like maybe Q3, Q4 for the release, but that would be a huge blow.
I'd love to be wrong.
Minecraft Legends, I said it in a previous video, it looks interesting to me.
It looks cool. I didn't realize what it was when it was announced, and then now that we saw this section that was arguably, in my opinion, a little too long, I think the game looks
I thought that, I mean, yeah, they were like, you know, you can go and scout and you can be like more on the attack. If you want to focus more on building like traditional Minecraft gameplay, like you can do that too. Really cool, I've never really played Minecraft stuff, but I do like PvP, kind of building my base, attacking someone else's base. I like the concept of having the map every time be procedurally generated, because if you play RTS games and you know certain maps, there are like always certain strategies, certain hacks that you have to avoid, like getting bum rushed on certain maps and like Age of Empires or Age of Mythology or a game like that.
When is that coming out?
That is coming out in April.
Okay, it's pretty solid.
I was super hyped about Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, me too.
There's just so many things about it that just struck me from a creative standpoint. And you know what? I'm loving it.
Yeah, some of the dialogue is a little much for me, but I was happy to support this game because the director on it is the guy who directed The Evil Within 2, and I got to interview him and Shinji Mikami at a Bethesda Game Days for Bloody Disgusting, like a long time ago. And he was like such a cool guy to talk to and was just really interested in all the stuff he was working on. I love The Evil Within 2. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So to see him get the spotlight here, be able to shadow drop his game and have it be really good. I really like that. I'm into rhythm games. I think the soundtrack's great. Like obviously Nine Inch Nails, Black Keys. You've got great people on that soundtrack. That's the perfect way to drop that game. They can't do it all the time. I saw people being like, oh, they should just shadow drop games on the Game Pass. And we've been saying for months, that's what they already do, kind of.
Yeah,
Don't market their games.
Especially for the month of January. They didn't have an announcement for like the first like couple of weeks.
You need to tie it into a big event like this, I think. But that was a good way to drop that game, especially with Forspoken on PS5 and then Dead Space coming out tomorrow or today or tonight or whatever.
Yeah.
Like those are two big games to sandwich in between. That was the smartest way to do it. And it was trending like all day. I saw Benji Sales saying that it trended for like 12 hours straight, which has never happened for really an Xbox game, but it also is kind of unheard of for a like indie game like that or smaller game in general.
And I like it because a lot of people are saying, well, what if I don't really have like natural rhythm? Like, am I still going to be able to enjoy a game? Very forgiving too. Like, you can still do combos even if they're not perfectly on beat, as long as you get the buttons right. And I feel like a lot of people are really going to enjoy this game. I've been really enjoying it. What do you think about Redfall? Because previously, I know you were really excited about it.
Red flags.
Redfall, more like red flags.
I saw an interview with someone working on the game where they were like, it's less like Left 4 Dead and more like Far Cry. Handcrafted map with cool side quests, cool missions. I'm like totally sold on that. What I didn't like so much, graphical fidelity, not quite there, right? Like low res textures. The vampires, I saw you say this. I agree. There's something weird about them. Like they're just low poly. Something's not working for me with the vampires.
They're not scaring me. They're not scary.
Like bullets were connecting to them. Like there's a part where one like shoots down a hallway and then the guy like blasts them with a shotgun.
With a shotgun. Yeah, and there's like no reaction.
See the bullets connect, which is weird because I am like the one of 5 people who play Deathloop, it feels like. And the weapons in that game, they feel really good to shoot. The movement feels really good, but the movement in Redfall, they were trying to do the horror thing where you like walk slow and creep up the stairs, when I don't think that's what the game is actually going to be. I think it's going to be a sort of run and gun type shooter.
Yeah.
And they're like,
especially because you're with your friends and there's a bunch of mobs and like stuff going on. Yeah,
vampires aren't scary if you have a like stake attached to your shotgun that you could just like, at the very least you could javelin throw that and have a pretty good odds of hitting the vampire, right? Like
it seems to be more like a finisher mechanic almost. Like
it's one of those games where like if you told me about it, if you're like, yeah, it's this game that takes place on this cool island in Massachusetts that gets overtaken by vampires on Halloween and you get to like roam around the map, use cool powers, find cool guns, it's a lot like Far Cry, I'm like, that checks every box for what I want out of a game. But then it's like you show me a video of it, I'm like, oh, okay, I think I just need to play it for myself, which, you know, that's good for Game Pass.
I think I need to play it for myself. It's just not getting me excited. It's not getting me hyped.
I want it to be good.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I love Arcane. I've played all their games since Dishonored.
And it's the first Arcane Xbox exclusive.
Right.
So
Harvey Smith's like one of the people over there that's really good.
I feel like Redfall, it wasn't supposed to be like the big marquee
thing.
Neither
was Deathloop.
Like Starfield was supposed to be the big thing. And then Redfall was kind of like this extra fun kind of game, but now there's like this pressure on it, especially after it was delayed out of 2022 into 23. It's just not jumping out at me. If you're watching this and you're like, I thought that looked sick, disregard what we're saying. Like what you're gonna like. That's what I'm saying. And in the words of Paris Lily over on Twitter, everything shown is for somebody. It might not be for you, but it's for somebody.
Elder Scrolls Online did not need to be in this show. That was like a padding runtime thing, and it's been around forever. That game's been waffling around like a couple thousand people on Steam for years now. Like, I get it, you want to pump people into it, you're making it a free trial. I think that game's place could have been taken by like something coming out this year, like hopefully Senua's Sacrifice, these games that we heard about when the Xbox Series X was announced.
I like Elder Scrolls Online, and I thought it was crazy that they were like, here are all of the expansions and DLCs that we've released thus far. You can play it with the base game. That's literally like over $100 in content that you can work your way through. Did it need to have its own spotlight? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they cut the show to like 30 minutes and they just focus on the 4 games and blah, blah, blah.
I think Deathloop DLC could have been cool there.
What would have made it like perfect knockout for me? Xbox Family Plan at the end. You want to play all these games? You can sign up, you and your buddies, on the Xbox Friends and Family Plan. But of course, That did not happen, but apparently it's supposed to be coming out soon. So yeah, Developer Direct is behind us. I was a fan of the format. The next Developer Direct is supposed to be dedicated solely to Starfield. Looking forward to that whenever that happens. I hope that they keep these like little smaller
Just
updates.
Starfield or like Bethesda?
Deep dive into Starfield.
Right. Oh yeah, well that's why they got Redfall out of the way.
Hopefully they keep this format. I'm a fan of like these smaller shows dedicated to just like a handful of games, but they also have confirmed Xbox they're going to have a live summer show out here in LA.
Sweet.
In like the old days and like last year when they had the June Xbox Bethesda showcase.
That was really cool. It was smaller than normal because they had to make it smaller. But yeah, I'd love to go to that Microsoft Theater, see some games announced again.
E3 and Summer Games Fest are having their shows in the same month, both in June. So there's some confusion on like, is Xbox is their thing going to be at E3 or are they going to push it to Summer Games Fest?
Nah, they'll be at E3. They'll be at both. But I think Xbox will be at E3. Xbox likes E3. It's right
like
there.
the big
too. The
old...
Microsoft Theater is right by the LA Convention Center. It's good timing. Sony will not be at E3. So
this show, I'm thinking like we're gonna get more updates on some of those more exciting titles that were announced like forever ago, like you said, like at the launch of the Series X, even before that. Fable, Avowed, Hellblade 2. This big summer show is an opportunity to give us an update on those games. Maybe like see some Indiana Jones.
What if they show the battle royale that Certain Affinity is working on?
That could be a good opportunity, right?
Or we could see what it is working on.
Or we could finally see what the frick it is working on, man. Everyone wants them to take over Halo.
So yeah, I think we're gonna get Quake. So it'd be cool if they
some more Quake stuff.
Yeah, I saw this meme that's like it's like Doom 2016 and it's the goth chick, and then it's like Doom Eternal and it's a girl with like rainbow hair, and then it's like Doom 1996 and it's Sarah Connor from Terminator 2. I was like, that's the most accurate meme
description. Xbox, they're dealing with a lot of like negative press. Like they got to go hard on this and give us something juicy, something sexy.